Hi, my name's Ella and I live with Pandas Pans. What is Pandas Pans? Well, this video is going to be all about Pandas Pans answering your questions. What does Pandas Pans stand for? PANDAS stands for Pediatric Autoimmune Neuropsychiatric Disorder Associated with Streptococcal Infections. And PANS stands for Pediatric Acute Neuropsychiatric Syndrome. What is Pandas Pans? Pandas and PANS are autoimmune conditions where your immune system mistakenly attacks a part of your brain called the basal ganglia, causing inflammation and neuropsychiatric symptoms. The symptoms can include OCD, tics, separation anxiety, anxiety in general, mental health difficulties like depression, self-harm, suicidal ideation, extreme behaviours. In severe cases, it can also cause seizures, POTS and eating troubles. Everybody with Pandas Pans is different and has a different set of symptoms. This is a Q&A about my Pandas Pans and I'm going to make a Malteser cake while I answer your questions. So I'm going to first put the butter and sugar in the bowl to make the cake. My first question is, how did I get diagnosed with Pandas Pans and what was the diagnostic process and how did they diagnose me? A Pandas Pans diagnosis is based off of your medical history and blood work they do, which indicates pandas. I think it's called the Cunningham panel. I'm not very good at multitasking. And they base it off your medical history and how your symptoms come suddenly and then keep flaring, getting better, flaring, getting better. So it's through medical evaluation and also blood work and for pandas a strep test put together to make a diagnosis. So it's like a mix of things, not just one thing. Bit too much sugar, but who's going to complain about a sugary cake? Mixy time. Oops. Now there's a bit less sugar. How long have I been diagnosed with Pandas Pans for? So I was first diagnosed with pandas when I was 17 by Dr. Tim Ubi at the Children's E Hospital, and then recently, I think last year, I was diagnosed with PANS by my current doctor, Dr. Indra. There's very few Pandas Pans doctors out there, and yeah, there's not very many of them. That is when I was diagnosed. And that leads me on to my next question. What is the difference between pandas and PANS? So they're both the same condition with the same symptoms, same kind of flares, but the difference in them is where they've come from. So pandas is specifically caused by a strep infection. And PANS can be caused by literally anything from COVID to the flu to viruses to even mold toxicity. So PANS is a broader term for brain inflammation that has come from anything, whereas pandas is specifically strep infection and then your symptoms happen. And I have both of them because I have multiple factors to both my pandas. Now, what made me realise that I could have pandas? I think the next is the eggs. Chickens! My chicks always say chickens when I get there. Oops. What made me realise that I had pandas was the real moment when I realised I could have pandas. Oh no, I've got shell in there. I was in hospital with a feeding tube, with feeding problems, and they said that my white blood cell count, this is really hard to show out an egg.
Do you want me to do it? Okay, well done.
They said that my white blood cell count was high and I wasn't ill. And we were like, we had Pandas Pans in our head for a while, but we didn't think it would be at the same time. And they said it was high, and then I got a cold. And they said, oh, it'll probably just be because you have a bit of a cold. That's probably why you have a high white blood cell count. And then literally a few days later with that cold, my tics exploded. I hadn't ticked for months, and my tics were mental, like talking, swearing, just mental tics. And that's when we put two and two together, and we were like, there's got to be something like PANDAS PANS. That's when we decided to take the leap and go to the Children's E-Hospital, where I was officially diagnosed with PANDAS. So yeah, that is like my PANDAS diagnosis. Oh, and with PANS, I was seeing my doctor, and how we realised I also have PANS was because I had a really, really high strep level in my blood test, but I also had loads of mold toxicities, 5 different mold toxicities, and my flares can be triggered by colds, infections that aren't strep, which indicates that my immune system is also triggered by other factors, which covers PANS and PANDAS, if that makes sense. The cake's looking good. Now I'm going to do the flour. The next question is, what is the hardest thing about living with PANDAS PANS? The hardest thing for me living with PANDAS PANS is the constant flare-ups and getting worse and getting better. Nothing's ever stable, and things can get better only just to come right back worse. Like right now, my POTS has become really bad and I'm struggling to walk without seizuring and feeling faint, when I've been able to walk for a few months after using a wheelchair for a year before that. It goes with all my symptoms, like I can not have a really good seizure time, not have really any seizures, and then seizure every single day, all day. My OCD can be really good, and then it can take over my life. My tics can be like literally not there, or just like whistles and a few noises, and then they can explode and I can be ticking all the time, like complex tics. So everything's really up and down, nothing's stable, and it's really hard that any germ, when germs are everywhere, can just cause your symptoms to go crazy, because germs aren't really something you can hide from, and it just knocks you down when you have PANDAS PANS. What is the best part about living with PANDAS PANS? When I got that question, I was a bit like, that's a funny question, because there's not really any good parts about PANDAS PANS. But when I had to think about it, like my life with PANDAS PANS, the best parts to me is that I have an amazing assistance dog, Ziggy, who, if I didn't have PANDAS PANS, I guess I wouldn't have him, and he wouldn't come everywhere with me, and he wouldn't be my hero. So I'm very happy that I have him in my life, obviously. And my other favourite thing about having PANDAS PANS, favourite sounds a bit silly, but about my life, is that I have amazing people in my life. My parents, my support workers, and like everyone's really understanding to me and makes me feel really happy, even though life's really tough for me. Like they try to make me feel like I'm a normal 19-year-old girl, even when things are really different for me. I have put my cake into the cake tins, and I had an amazing question, which was, how can I best support somebody who is a family member or a friend with PANDAS PANS? And I think that is an amazing question, and my best advice would be to understand their symptoms as much as you can, whether that's tics, OCD, struggling with their mental health, seizures, whatever it is. Try your best to research their condition, like their symptom of the condition, and understand them the best they can, because it really means a lot when someone takes the time to think about what you're going through and be there for them. My advice would also be to make sure you know that they're not in control of what happens to them through PANDAS PANS. They can't control how their tics are. If they're bad, they can't control their tics. And a big thing with PANDAS PANS is affecting emotional regulation, and we are simply not always in control of our emotions, and we can't help the way we behave sometimes. Our emotions can overwhelm us, and the part of our brain which controls emotions is inflamed, so we can't just think or just take time to not act before we think. It just happens without our permission. We don't choose to. It just happens, and we have to live with the constant guilt that our brain made us behave in ways that we couldn't control. Now I'm just going to put my cakes in the oven. They are in the oven. Thank you for the amazing question, because this is going to really help me raise awareness of the condition that needs so much awareness raised on it. While they're in the oven, I'm going to answer another question, which is, if I could take one symptom away forever, what symptom would I take away? And that's a really tricky question, but I think if I put it to top 3, it would be my POTS, because it takes away my ability to walk and my ability to do things I can enjoy. My seizures, because they honestly just ruin my life. And this one might surprise some people, but it shouldn't, because if you had a day in the life with OCD, you'd understand. But OCD is probably one of the top 1 or 2, because living with OCD is like mental torture, and it's the one that nobody else can see, and it's all in your head. And overnight, your head can just be taken over, and that is it for a week, months. You're just in mental torture and you can't control your thoughts. So OCD, POTS and seizures are probably my worst symptoms. I don't like tics because, I don't like any of them, but I don't like tics because they make me act in a way where I can't control it, and I feel like a horrible dirty person saying horrible dirty things. Fat cunt, classic example. But they're not the worst, because I can still carry on my life. The biggest thing about them is not worrying about what other people think. So if you can do that, embrace it, who cares anyway? But yeah, they're cooking now. And one more question before they're out of the oven is my autism and ADHD linked or caused by or worsened by my PANDAS? And that is a really good question, because a lot of autism and ADHD things obviously overlap, because autism and ADHD are from the brain and PANDAS PANS is making your brain inflame. So yes, my autistic traits and ADHD traits can get worse, like specific things like sensory issues, emotional regulation, sometimes like anxiety levels around people and stuff like that can be made worse by PANDAS PANS in flares. We don't know how much of it is like linked, but I've had like autistic traits since I was much younger, so we do believe I am also autistic, but it's hard to tell what of my baseline had been made worse by PANDAS PANS and what is me just being autistic, and that's not something we will know until I am fully better from PANDAS PANS in every way. Now I'm just taking my cakes out of the oven. Did you know it is World Encephalitis Day on the 22nd of February, and I have got a big video I'm putting together to share my whole story, which will be shared on that day. Fuck off, you fat cunt. Pig. Now I'm just, oop, it's in half. Oh no, oh no. Take the cake out. Ooh. We're not aiming for perfection. And I'm going to decorate it with icing sugar and Maltesers, cunt. The next question is, do your symptoms, oops, of PANDAS PANS stop being so extreme as you get older, or will it always be the same? I'm just going to put water in this. Probably shouldn't put that much water in it. Let's just do it. I always make this bad. So, it probably, hopefully, almost definitely shouldn't be the same forever, because PANDAS PANS is always changing. Like, it probably won't even be the same in 6 months' time, hopefully in a good way. But the condition of PANDAS PANS that you're in is always changing. Could be worse, could be better, could be different symptoms, different severity. Oops. It's a bit watery. In terms of will my PANDAS PANS always be debilitating for the rest of my life, is I don't know. PANDAS PANS is supposed to be a pediatric condition, but it doesn't just go away when you turn 18. I'd like to think that I will get the right treatment and become a lot better, but there will be germs around me and I will get germs for the rest of my life, and it is an autoimmune disease, so I have no idea what my future holds and if it will be worse, better or the same, but that is a mystery. So that's the answer to that question. I'm just going to mix this up. It's a bit lumpy. Cunt. Fuck off.
Could be a good
Suck
idea.
my dick, you cocky fat cunt. I have never said that.
Or chocolate. Have you got Nutella or something like that?
Now I'm going to put lemon curd in the middle of my cake. And the next question I'm going to answer is have I ever had a positive experience with an NHS doctor believing I have PANDAS PANS? Now that is a really interesting question, and I am going to answer that once I have finished doing the lemon curd. I'm going to put this on top. It looks stunning. I have had a positive experience with the NHS believing I have PANDAS PANS because when I was it 12 or 14 years old? When I was 12 or 14 years old, around that age, I developed severe tics. I also developed some seizure-like episodes, which then disappeared for the next few years until I developed seizures again. And my paediatrician at the time suggested PANDAS PANS. She wanted me to go for testing, but I wouldn't leave my house, I wouldn't leave my room, and I was scared of needles at the time. So I wouldn't go to get the testing, so we were like, we just can't do it, and we kind of forgot about it, and then didn't think anything of it. A few years later, I was in hospital with a feeding tube, unable to eat. We brought pandas up then because no one knew what was wrong with me, and they were going to add Maltesers. And they said they didn't believe I had PANDAS PANS. We asked to speak to the paediatrician who did believe I had PANDAS PANS, and she had changed her mind. When I had only developed more symptoms, she just took it back. I don't know what that was about. So yes, they did believe me. And moving on to now, there was a few years where basically nobody believed what was wrong with me. But back to now, all my people that work with me, doctors, gastroenterologists, cardiologists, neurologists, all of them, they all believe in my PANDAS PANS diagnosis. It makes the most sense to them of what's going on with me. So yes, I do have positive experiences, especially now, where they do understand and they are willing to help with any treatment they can with my PANDAS PANS, which is really good. So yeah, that is the end of my Q&A with my stunning cake. I'm just gonna put Maltesers all over it. As you can tell, I'm not a baker, but at least it's edible. I think. Is it edible?
I think it is.
I'm not sure how many Maltesers to put on it, but I think I'm just gonna fill all the gaps. So yeah, thank you for watching my video. Comment down below if you learned something new, and if you haven't subscribed, make sure you subscribe if you want to see more and see my story, my full story, which I'm going to post on the 22nd. Fuck off, you fat fucking cunt. Penis head. Fuck. On the 22nd. I dropped the Maltesers. Thank you for watching my video. Fuck off, you fat cunt. Sorry about that. Bye.